Where did the money go from the Kilpatrick Civic Fund? That was the question that took center stage inside federal court for the former mayor's corruption trial. 7 Action News investigator Heather Catallo begins our team coverage from downtown. Heather, what did the jurors hear today?
Well, the focus is still on the Civic Fund. Was it used improperly? And the Fed started to set the stage for rolling out all of those text messages. He once helped create Kwame Kilpatrick's public image, but today, longtime public relations professional Bob Berg was testifying against his former client. Berg told the jury in the Kilpatrick corruption case today that former Congresswoman Carolyn Cheeks Kilpatrick asked him to work on her son's first mayoral campaign back in 2001. Assistant U.S. Attorney Michael Bellotta showed the jury 2 checks that Berg's company received. They total $10,000 and were both written from the Kilpatrick Civic Fund's account, a nonprofit that the feds say Kilpatrick illegally used for political campaign expenses. Berg testified that he did not do any work for the Civic Fund, even though the defense suggested that Berg did advise Kilpatrick about controversial donations that homeless shelter owner John Rutherford had made to the nonprofit.
It was what it was.
Tracy Walker was also paid nearly $15,000 by the Civic Fund. Federal prosecutors put her on the stand to talk about how she felt her goal was to make sure Kilpatrick got elected. Kilpatrick's attorney Jim Thomas pointed out, though, that Walker's contract clearly shows she was supposed to help Kilpatrick's public image for the Civic Fund.
I don't understand. It is an entirely a misspent focus on what ordinarily would be an audit.
Also today, a federal agent testified about how they created a database for hundreds of thousands of text messages sent by all 4 defendants. The former mayor, his father Bernard Kilpatrick, his longtime friend Bobby Ferguson, and ex-Detroit Water Department Director Victor Mercado are all on trial, accused of running a criminal enterprise out of City Hall. The feds used this exchange as an example of a conversation they pieced together between Bernard Kilpatrick and Kwame Kilpatrick on August 3rd of 2004. From Bernard, quote, "Cool, we need to have one of our meetings. You, me, Zeke, and Bobby." Zeke is a nickname for former Kilpatrick aide Derek Miller. The former mayor replied to Bernard, "Cool." Later that day, Bernard Kilpatrick texted Kwame Kilpatrick, quote, "We need that meeting I was talking about. Me, you, and Zeke. My crib, late." The federal agent testified that Bernard Kilpatrick often used the signature line for his texts, "Don't sweat the small stuff. It's all small stuff." Kwame's response to Bernard was, "Cool." Don't expect the defense to consider those text exchanges cool. Jim Thomas tried to press the agent on how those text conversations were put together and whether or not you could really tell the true meaning of a word in a text message without knowing the true tone. We know from past statements they intend to challenge a lot of these text messages, but 200 of them are going to be shown to the jury. Reporting live at the federal courthouse in downtown Detroit, I'm Heather Catallo, 7 Action News. Joanne, back to you.
Heather, I understand there was an issue with another juror today. What happened there?
That's correct. One of the jurors was so ill she had to suddenly stop the testimony and leave the room. She was able to come back and testimony continued, but as you know, they've already lost 2 jurors, so this is getting kind of interesting. A lot of them are coughing and sneezing up there. Of course, it's that time of year, so we're going to have to see what happens.
Yeah, and we're only getting more and more into the flu season and all that, Heather. We'll see. Thank you so much, Heather.